Welcome to AIS Facebook Live. We're very happy to have Elementary Principal Ms. Okubo and Assistant Principal Mr. Baumgartner joining us this afternoon. They are eager to share how AIS inspires and empowers our early childhood learners as they explore, play, and connect with teachers and peers. So we have 3 sections in early childhood, if you don't know. So EC1 is for children age 3 to 4. EC2 is for children age 4 to 5. Grade 1 Junior is for children age 5 to 6. We're extremely proud of our early childhood program and look forward to sharing with you. So Ms. Okubo, would you like to start and give us a little bit background?
Sure. I think that I'd like to start by introducing a little bit of background about my experience in education and what brought me and my family to Hong Kong in 2018. So how time flies, right? We're already here in 2020. Our family was living in the beautiful city of San Francisco, and I was serving as an elementary school principal in the San Francisco Public Unified School District. And our son was attending school there, just finished his 2nd grade year in the public school system in the United States. And my husband was an architect in San Francisco. So our family decided that we wanted to explore Hong Kong and explore a new city, a new school system. And so we were so fortunate to be able to be invited to join the American International School community. And I was so honored to serve, and I still am so honored to serve as the elementary school, early childhood and elementary school principal here at AIS. And what I always love to tell families is that I come to serve the community with that leadership hat, right? And also I have a perspective of a parent, because our son attended elementary and just started middle school here at AIS, and I've seen him thrive. The other piece I like to share with families is that having been a teacher and a parent and a principal in an American school, the transition for our son and for me coming to Hong Kong and working at American International School was truly seamless. And I like to reassure families that the experience our children are having here at AIS is truly an American education experience, and that it will certainly prepare them for so many of our families have the goal to maybe move to the United States, return to the United States, or continue with the US-based education. So I always like to share that with our families. And I'm really so excited to welcome Mr. Baumgartner to our community as assistant principal. And so I'll go ahead and let him share some background about what he'll bring to our ES community, and especially the early childhood.
So I've been overseas. I came overseas in 2008. I spent some time in Japan. Then after that, I spent some time in Thailand. And then right before coming here, I spent some time in Xi'an in mainland China. So I'm very new to Hong Kong, very excited to be here. My background is in early childhood education. I've always worked with 4 to 5-year-olds my whole life. So this is my focus. I really enjoy being around kids this age. And I think there's a great program here to get involved in.
Awesome. So are you ready for my questions?
So
Yes.
ready.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a big one. So what are the similarities and difference between AIS online school and in-school model?
So I go back to February 3rd of 2020, when American International School transitioned very, very quickly to going from an in-person learning model to an online school model. And so right away, we were mindful of thinking about what we valued for our earliest learners: human connections, play, language development, thinking about those important learning values and keeping those sacred as we moved into the online setting. So I will tell you that over time, our thinking behind what online school looks like has changed. So we've observed classrooms so much. We've started school, just Tuesday was our first day of school. And Mr. Baumgartner and I have had the privilege of visiting so many of our Zoom classrooms to look at how our children are experiencing the online learning environment, with that eye that we value those human connections. And so already you see similarities, that time that students listen to their teacher read aloud a story, and to read that story so that they are asking children questions, asking them to look at character emotions, asking them to think about what's going to happen next, interact with the story. That's alive and well. That does not change that in the in-person setting and the online setting. We've seen that happening. Another example is our teachers will oftentimes in the early childhood have calendar routines. And so they'll be practicing the language around counting one-to-one correspondence and singing the days of the week song. And that's alive and well right now. Both you would see that in person school and online. I saw Miss Jean, our EC1 teacher, she was bringing in realia. Like she was talking about how her favorite color is yellow. And she brought things from home that were yellow. And then at one point in her online lesson, she said, now, students, you go in your homes and you go and find something yellow too. And so you saw the children were not just sitting passively watching their teacher and trying to soak in the information and learn. They were up and they were moving around their homes and they were trying to find things and bringing them back to the screen to show their yellow item, to show and share. And what was fascinating about that is that the students, you could tell, were seeing and learning and observing what was happening with their peers. They were watching what their friends and classmates were doing and bringing to this virtual learning environment. So each student got a turn. They had the practice in saying their names, and there was choice there because they had a personal connection to their favorite colors. And so those are just a few examples. Stories, the magic of a story and interacting with the story and the characters and the plot, and having that choice and seeing and observing peers, it's so important. And you see it happening.
What grade is that?
I saw stories from EC1, EC2, and grade 1 junior. Yesterday, it was 3 and 4-year-olds up and moving and getting their items that were their favorite colors.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Just to build off what Ms. Okubo said, is these relationships I already see start to form between kids watching the videos, the relationship between kids, between teachers. So when we get back to school, when we get back in here, it won't be a second first day for them. They're preparing for a very smooth transition. They'll be coming in and seeing familiar faces, you know, a teacher they know, buddies and, you know, friends that they know already. So it's preparing them very well for a smooth transition into that first day, especially with the younger kids. And the structure of the day will be there. They'll know that the 8:15 is when school starts. You know, they'll have their patterns down already.
It made me think of Miss Vicky. It made me think of, right, there was a student that had a birthday on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday, and the class still sang happy birthday to that student. And, you know, if you're not connected to your classroom, you miss out on those, like the rituals and what you would anticipate a student would be experiencing in person. So loved seeing and hearing the class wish their classmate a happy birthday. Also a teacher, right? Miss Victoria had her birthday just yesterday, and it was so sweet because all the students sang happy birthday to her.
Aw, that's cute.
Many of the teachers have also given tours of the rooms. So me and Ms. Okubo are in early childhood rooms right now. And so once again, so that smooth transition is there, and we're prepared for when the kids can come back. They already know what their room looks like. The teacher walks around it with them.
And let's hope that that's sooner than later, right? I think what's important to know is that there's so much to share. There's so much information that we want to share with you, but I think AIS all summer long, we have been preparing for all three scenarios. We've been preparing for 100% on campus, 50% on campus, and online as well. And we were hoping in June that we would be 100% on campus, and we were ready. And we had to transition to that online setting, but we're really, really ready for what's to come.
Yeah. So for an online setting, so there will be like kids who are really quiet. So how would teacher encourage that?
I think it takes time, right, to build trust. And it takes even more thought and patience and slowing down while we're starting online with online school. And as a division, especially in early childhood, we have said that the number one priority right now is building your classroom community. So we've got a couple of things happening that I think are our strengths. We have students coming to whole class Zooms, and the teacher is planning lessons and establishing routines in the whole class setting. We also have small group Zooms as well. So we know that some children may feel a little bit more comfortable in the small group setting. So we have the small group setting. And then in addition to that, we have individual Zooms that will be happening as well. So one-on-one meetings with kids. And what was interesting last year, we held student conferences before school resumed and we were back on campus. What was interesting is some teachers were saying that that they actually felt like the children were talking more and sharing more in those one-on-one settings. And they saw the children after they made that one-on-one connection, that once they came back to that whole class Zoom, that they were a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more talkative. So I guess what's important to note is our teachers are so observant, and they're watching and observing and engaging with kids and trying all sorts of strategies to do that. And I think it's by a case-by-case basis. Next week, we're super, super excited because individual families will be scheduling a conference time with homeroom teachers. And we knew that families may have some of the similar questions that you're asking right now of Mr. Baumgartner and I. They would have those same questions for the teachers. And as well as our homeroom teachers also have the same questions about the families. And so we have scheduled in those connections all next week.
I'd also like to add, online Zoom isn't our whole online school. We are communicating with the parents and kids other ways too. We have Seesaw and Flip and other Loom and other ways that kids can communicate with teachers too. So if a kid is shy in the group where there's 20 other people on the screen or 5 other people on the screen, or you know what I mean, whatever it is on the screen, some of these kids really open up in videos. When they just make a video of themselves to the teacher and then send it, they're really able to share that way where they wouldn't be able to do that in a class. So our whole online day isn't just Zoom. There is more to it than that.
Okay. So oppositely, if we have kids that are really, really talkative and just won't stop talking on the Zoom classroom, so how would the teacher handle that?
We've seen it, and they handle it beautifully, because we know kids are developing their language skills, right? And so we never want to discourage a child from being able to express themselves and to share everything that's on their mind. And at the same time, we're setting classroom norms and expectations. And so when somebody does speak, that we can hear the teacher's words or a classmate's words. So it's all part of setting those expectations in the whole class setting, in the small group setting, and practicing. I think that's what I see a lot of teachers doing right now. In fact, another teacher said, we need to actually practice in a session, like showing visuals for turning on and off the mics. A teacher can control that on Zoom, but there's picture cues that the teacher is using to say, oh, a non-verbal, turn off your microphones right now, mute your microphones.
So you have like signs for kids not talking. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So where was this one? Oh, our second step curriculum, which goes from EC1 to grade 4, has these school-wide cues: eyes watching, ears listening, voices quiet, body still. And so that's school-wide consistent language on skills that'll help you focus and learn.
So you have the weekday song, and then you have like
I won't sing it for you. I want to, but I won't.
Okay, so going back to the questions, I believe like parents will have lots of questions, especially prior to the homeschool teacher meeting. So as a parent myself, working parent, so what kind of advice would you give me in order to support my child through online learning?
You know what? Right from the get-go, we knew that our families had diverse needs, and we respected that a great deal. And so we understand that that there are oftentimes 2 working parents, different schedules. Some of our families were in different time zones. And so I think it's important to remember, Mr. Baumgartner talked about it. We have live teaching connections that are happening. And in addition to that, we have what you may be hearing is asynchronous learning. We talked about seesaw posts with different activities for the kids to engage in. I think when we know we have families that can't always connect to the live sessions, because for early childhood students, it's so dependent on the adult support. I mean, we're watching lessons right now, and we're seeing parents actively involved and grateful that they're supporting their children, making sure that technology is working smoothly, and that they're helping their children feel comfortable in that setting. I think what we need to remember is that we want families, again, to talk to us early, directly, and often, and we're here to support, and we come with an open heart, understanding the diverse needs of our families.
Okay. Speaking about parents, so I'm receiving some comments on Facebook from families, and
Hi families, thanks for coming.
I see that one of the comment is, Ms. Okubo, what have you taken away from last year's online experience that you have applied to this year's planned online experience?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
One big change that we've communicated with families is that we were, our specialist classes, art, music, Mandarin, and PE. Last year, we were having students meet as a grade level. So EC1, EC2 were meeting together with those specialist teachers. And our 3 grade 1 junior classes, all those students were meeting as a grade level with the specialists. And so we looked at that schedule and understood that it would be better if individual classes could receive that specialist learning. And so already this year in the online school setting, our students can look forward to those specialist classes meeting in the whole class setting starting week 3. And we're excited because it will be art, Mandarin, music, and PE. But Mandarin has, in their schedule, all students will have 2 Mandarin lessons a week. And in addition to that, our students, we know that it's a different time of year. We're launching a school year online. And so our families can see now that there are significantly more Zoom sessions for the homeroom class to meet as well.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Baumgartner?
Yeah, the one thing I want to add is, I mentioned before, is the plan is that it's a smooth transition, that online school and school is the same. So having that structure is now there. We have synchronous learning, that the day starts for all our classes at the same time in the morning for each grade level, and then we have a plan of when the specialists are going to come in. This has all been scheduled out. It's worked out so that each class is still getting involved in equal amount, that there's structure to everything.
And I think we talked a little bit about next week in our anticipated plans for family connections. I do know coming into this year that we want to host more parent workshops. I think that's an area where we can help families feel a little less pressure. I know that there are so many worries right now. Families are worrying, is my child at grade level? Should I be worried? And I respect the fact that our parents are having a look into classrooms and learning like they've never had before. And so I know that there may be many questions about what we're doing and what we're providing our students with regards to the learning environment. So we want to offer more workshops to help our families understand what that partnership looks like with the school.
So what if a parent thinks, we're thinking like, okay, this is not going to work. We might as well just withdraw our applications, withdraw our students. What is your opinion on that?
We always respect a family's decision. But I think Mr. Baumgartner mentioned, the importance of the familiarity of seeing and having that human connection and seeing the school and seeing their friends and seeing their teacher, and the importance of not having any gaps in that learning. You have a community here, a classroom community, a grade level community, a school community, and it has always been so important in a child's life. You think about that. You think about the amount of time a child spends at home, and then you have school's place in a child's life, and that exposure to the diversity here, all the learning activities that are so thoughtfully prepared. I think don't underestimate the power of that learning, that human connection. Aaron, do you want to share?
Yeah, what I'd like to share about that is making those relationships. For young children, at home, they're always in an environment where it's one-to-one, one adult to one child, or even one child to 2 adults. And having that social connection where you come to school and the child needs to learn that, oh, now there's 5 children in here or 10 children in here and only 1 adult. How do I share adults' attention? How do I socially know to wait for my peers to stop talking before I talk? How do I take turns or share items? And these are social interactions which are very difficult to get in a home situation outside of school.
We were talking yesterday about, I think I asked our team here that question on, okay, let's think about those connections that we personally still have to preschool. And I thought instantly that our son still has a scheduled play date, virtual play date with friends that he's known from his preschool community in San Francisco. And he and our families are still so connected to each other and will continue to be connected. So I never underestimate that the people that we're meeting and the connections we're making right now could be lifetime connections. Do you guys want to share your stories?
Sure. My two best friends, one is an assistant principal in Virginia, the other is a social worker at home, and we rode the kindergarten bus together. We used to climb under the seats on the kindergarten bus together, and they're still my best friends. They're the two people I still WeChat message or message in the States constantly.
Wow. Actually, my husband and I were elementary friends. So we actually had a class that we sat together and we stayed connected. And yeah, we meet up after we graduated from school.
So don't underestimate those potential lifetime connections.
Okay. So as a recap, like rephrase our conversation. So it is not the academic that a student will be falling behind. It's the social aspects.
Yeah, I think that I don't want to forget about the academic piece because, in early childhood and our emphasis on play and talking to peers and that language development that you have and you gain from a social interaction, sharing toys, playing a game out on the playground, trying to connect in Zoom and have conversations with the teacher, that's tied. Language development is so critical and it's tied to academic success. So I think that I have so much more of a holistic approach to what we want for our earliest children and what we want for all children. I think you could see on our webpage and what we write about AIS is that we are very proud of the fact that we offer a balanced learning experience here.
That's great. Would you have anything to add?
Yeah, I always think in early years and in primary school that we make excellent students. We work on creating students that are well-rounded and that can learn in the environment and learn about those social reactions of sharing an adult's attention, sharing with peers and stuff like that. High school make great citizens, global citizens for the world. But in primary and elementary, we learn how to get socialized. We learn how to be good students, and that improves our academics. You need this so you can learn.
And the truth is that in early childhood, getting along has a direct connection with being a global citizen. Right? You see the continuum. And even in first grade, we saw yesterday that the students were taking our essential school-wide learning results and they were chanting and using first grade language to actualize what an empowered thinker looks like. Yeah.
So I think we have, at least I have questions that I've already got the answer. Just looking through the comments and see, some parents are really hoping that we can go back to school.
Yeah, we're ready.
Yes.
I mean, I'm
anytime, right?
Yes, and I am sitting in a classroom that's a beautiful classroom, and can I show it to you? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Can I show it to you? You can see that the reading books are ready. The bulletin boards are beautifully displayed. You see Chicka Chicka Boom, a reference to Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Do you know? A classic. And then you can see
Wow,
everything is ready.
cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for showing. I bet a lot of EC1 is this is a classroom for EC1, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I bet a lot of incoming students who haven't been in AIS before are eager to find out what's the classroom is going to be like. So this is really nice to share with them.
Eager to have them here.
All right, so thank you very much, Ms. Okubo and Mr. Baumgartner. Thank you for your time. And
Thanks, Miss Vicky.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Vicky.
Thanks for
Thank
hosting us.
you.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Take care. Be safe,
bye-bye.
everybody. Take care.